In the electrifying heart of London's nightlife, where boundaries blur and desires run wild, Adrian and I lived the dream of a rather wild and exciting open marriage. But amid the intoxicating highs of shared fantasies, one veiled betrayal threatens to shatter everything we thought we believed about love, trust, and the blurred lines of fidelity. Dive into a tale where passion meets pain and discover what happens when our forbidden pleasures lead to unexpected betrayals. Chapter 1. Fulfilling every fantasy, but one, my inner conflict. My name is Lydia, and this is my cautionary tale of a woman living a sexually hedonistic life in London, the London of the 2020s. A hot, exciting, no-holds-barred, pulsating heart beating in tandem with my own. A sophisticated, vivacious city of spectacular highs and loathsome lows. Much like my own life, a myriad of opposites. I can't help but cast my mind back to that blissful period before the pandemic, to the palpable thrill of the nightlife, where we frolicked like kids in a city that never slept. In the heart of the electric whirl of lights, music, and energy, I played out my life. A life seemingly stitched together by perfection. Married to Adrian, a man with enough charm to make James Bond himself feel inadequate. We were partners in crime, reveling in adventurous escapades that many wouldn't dare dream of. Adrian. My heart pounds even now at the mere utterance of his name. Not just handsome, but oozing a magnetism that drew women towards him like moths to a flame. My husband. The mastermind behind our risque adventures that painted London red in a way no sunset ever could. Together, we pushed boundaries, redefined limits, and craved the adrenaline of exploring our deepest, darkest fantasies. Blindfolds in Bloomsbury, threesomes in the Shard, secretive swinging in Soho. Our escapades were as eclectic as the city we called home, a roller coaster of erotic euphoria, blurring the lines between risque and radical. Yet, it was never the acts themselves that thrilled me. It was the illicitness, the intoxicating rush of rebellion against societal norms, the thrill of the forbidden, playing out in the shadows of London's illustrious landmarks, our shared secret in a city of millions. Yet, somewhere along the way, a void began to grow in me. Like a patch of cloud dimming the summer sun, a subtle dissatisfaction lurked within my heart. Every stolen kiss, every torrid encounter, instead of lighting the spark, seemed to reveal the absence of something profound, something fundamentally, overwhelmingly human. In the rush to break barriers, to challenge the status quo, we overlooked the simplest aspect of our connection, the sweet, tender romance that was the cornerstone of our relationship before the chaos of the city engulfed us. Sex, in all its raw, visceral forms, was thrilling, but without romance. It was akin to a symphony without a conductor, wild, frenzied, but lacking direction. I yearned for a touch devoid of motive, for a kiss filled with nothing but affection, the simple whispered words that might seem ordinary to the world, but held a universe of meanings for me, a connection that was more emotional than physical, where sex was not just an act, but an expression of deep, passionate love. There was a peculiar irony in this craving. In a world where women dreamed of wild, erotic fantasies, I longed for the simple, almost cliché fantasy of romantic lovemaking, the kind you read about in the worn-out pages of a Mills and Boon novel. In the grand scheme of our adventurous exploits, it seemed inconsequential, even laughable. Yet, this longing had taken root in my heart and was growing with each passing moment. This, my dear friends, is where my story truly begins. A story of one woman's pursuit of a seemingly simple fantasy amidst a life marked by erotic adventures. A journey to bring the forgotten language of love back into our sex life, to remember what it felt like to be adored and cherished. Stay with me as I unveil my heart, my desires, my confessions. For in a world that often rushes towards the wild, there's a certain magic in the simplicity of pure romantic love, a magic that I, Lydia, was on the verge of discovering. Come, journey with me.
This is chapter 1 of a 6-part short story. The next chapter is chapter 2. If you like this chapter and would like to hear the other 5 chapters or more stories of love, betrayal, cheating, and candid confessions like this, please make sure you subscribe to the Romance Diaries on YouTube.